Hey everybody, it's Monster back again with Opus Gaming, and I'm here today to bring you guys a Digimon matchup. This is going to be a tournament finals with me on my GrandisKuwagamon with the Quartzmon top end versus my teammate Austin on his red hybrid list. We are both obviously undefeated playing in the finals, and both decks are crazy aggressive, so it's really cool seeing them utilize all of their new tools with red hybrids, getting access to the new Emperor Greymon line and all of their new just really go aggro strategy. And then you have Grandis on the other hand, who now has Quartzmon, which is going to end up, they have their really aggressive start, but then they just switch into a control style where they lock the board down, and it's like break my board style deck. So it's honestly pretty crazy. And Grandis didn't really have legs versus hybrid before, but now we have legs. But also with hybrids, now that they have their new Emperor Greymon line, they can just raise up a line, pop your big stack, and before, if you don't have your top end, that just sets you too far behind. If you can't set up a perfect OTK, they can just come in, crack your board, check most of your security, and then you can't do anything on the next turn because your board got cracked. So it's really a toss-up. Both decks are very strong. So before we get too lost in describing how the matchup goes, it's pretty crazy. If you guys aren't subscribed, drop a sub down below. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers, and when we do get to 1,000 subscribers, we're doing a pretty big giveaway for all of the different Bandai card games that we're playing right now. So we're gonna have a link to the more details about the giveaway in the description, but just as a thank you guys, I really appreciate that. So if you're not subbed, drop a sub down below. If you guys are just here to support, leave a like, leave a comment so we can hurry up and get to that 1,000 subscribers and kind of just grow the channel a little bit more. But let's get into the gameplay right now. Alright, here we are in the mulligan phases of the game, and I'm pretty sure we just did an evens odds roll, just so we had to roll the dice one time, and we're just moving straight into the start of the game here. Looking at my hands, one is actually pretty interesting because you can see that I have a 3, a 5, 6, and a 7, but I don't have the second 6 or the 4. So I have a start, but no follow-up, and I'm going first. So at first I put my hand back here, and I sit there and I think, like, if I can top deck a 4, I'm actually not in a bad position here at all. So we end up taking back the 5 from our hand. Our opponent is mulliganing because he did see a rookie but didn't see any follow-up for himself either for going second, so we will see how this goes. But I just thought that was really interesting. I kind of wanted to touch on it because sometimes you do want to kind of search for a follow-up, especially if you're going first and you don't want to break out for the first part of your turn. But man, that hand was so good. I have so much of my start already, so I'm already just going to be getting there. But we'll see how it goes. So going through the handling portion of the video, and then we're also just setting out life, and then we're just going to be getting into the gameplay here. So Digivolve into raising into the Terriermon, top deck the Weedmon on the Terriermon draw, which was insane, and then just Digivolve for 1 on the Weedmon. So passing it back over to the red hybrid player side, being able to top deck that perfect 4 there with the rest of my hand, because now the rest of my hand is goated, so I'm just good to go for the rest of the game. So we saw a Takuya come down on the red hybrid player side. Flamemon comes up and swings at security. Nope, we're gonna give it an Atomic Inferno to increase its attack up to 6k, I believe, and also give it security check +1, but it died on the first check. So it is a little bit hard making plays like that with the rookies, but. And then we just are going to set our opponent to 3. So if we would have held that Atomic Inferno there, we could have just kind of choked our opponent out in that situation, put him to 2. But now here I just have gas to go. So Digivolve, I guess choking to us to 2 wouldn't have been that big of a deal because we still would have had full combo with the card on board. But yep, you see here full Grandis combo coming down. Getting the 1 memory off the Weedmon that we top decked, which was crazy. Getting rid of the egg here as well, which is the Multimon. And then Digivolving for 1 into Grandis. Yep. So Grandis is going to swing into the Flamemon with Piercing. Flamemon's going to reveal, or I mean the security checks are going to reveal 1, 2, 3. It's going to see the second Tamer come down. Swinging through security again. We don't see a third Tamer, unfortunately. But in this situation, I'm pretty sure we swim. Oh, we don't slam the Quartzmon. We think about slamming the Pulsemon. Yeah, we're counting out how much we're going to give him for a Quartz here. We open with the Quartz against the hybrid matchup is just so strong that I think that I definitely should slam it here, but I can see merit in just playing out a rookie as well. Just as we have him pretty dead to rights right now, it's going to be really hard for him to navigate through a turn. But we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Yep, and then we end up slamming the Quartz here. So Quartz is going to come down, lock down everything, get back 1 memory, and then just pass turn over. Puts us in a pretty good position where our opponent really won't have too many outs to be able to get over us here. Digivolve in raising. One thing I could have done better with that last turn was kind of my sequencing. I could have went for the quartz, and that was by far the better choice. So just making that decision as opposed to kind of going back and forth with a worse plan, I think could have gone smoother on my end. But here we are in the quartz lock, and he's just going to try to get out of it. I believe he's digging right now to try to get into the Emperor Greymon, essentially. That'll pop the quartz if he can boost himself up to 15k. Even if he's rusted, that's a perfectly fine play. So he does have some digging power here, but it's not going to be a crazy amount of digging power, so that part's working against him. Yep, and then we Burning Gray set us to 1, and then we just, hatch, swing quartz for game. So that's going to wrap up that game 1. That one was unfortunate. We just saw like a perfect line, and we kind of top decked into it as well, right? So going into game 2 here, I believe, this is going to be the mulligan phase here as well. I don't think it's quite as crazy. I'm assuming my opponent's going to be going first, just because even if I do get a 1-drop level 4, it's just going to set him back so much because it's basically starting his turn off at 0, starting it off at 1. So if he goes first in this matchup, that would be really good for him starting off on that foot, but also putting me a little bit farther behind. So I was able to get through my mulligan and my decision before my opponent even finished up shuffling. That's kind of funny. And then we're going into game 2. Hopefully he has a goaded hand because yes, he's forced to keep this hand. Going into Flamemon and raising. And then just kind of going back and forth on what he wants to do here to follow up, if he's going to board a card, because and then we're just going to Digivolve and raising. That's a really smart play on his choice. If he did put me to 3, it just opens up a lot of lines. I can choke him back by going all the way back up to 5, as well as I can just really put the gas on in this situation. So if I end up putting him back at 2, he has the choice to just choke me out for the rest of the game here. So, and that's exactly what happens. So he raises up here, Digivolves for 1, swings at security. It's gonna be X antibody option, so he loses a memory and it adds itself to hand. And then he kind of just is debating what he wants to do here. So, and we're gonna play out the Beelzemon. Beelzemon's gonna be a big player in this game, in this matchup actually. Now he has cards on board, he has Search, so he's going to have cards to start his next turn out, and he's really going to be, he's starting the game out on the right foot for sure. Beelzemon at 2, or Beelzemon standing does give me, if I do have like the perfect setup, I can still bring out, I do raise up here. I can still bring out a pretty good Grandis line here. So if I have the X Antibody Okuomon and a GrandisKuwagamon, I could go for the 2, but didn't have the 2 of them, so. We go reveal the 4, we're going to take GrandisKuwagamon, so that's what I didn't have, was the GrandisKuwagamon. And we just wait till next turn. This turn, the red player is actually going to be able to do a decent bit of damage to us, I believe. But we'll see. Alright, and then we're going to pass him over to 3 with a Kokuomon. Searching a Kokuomon. Thinking about the plays here, thinking about what we want to do. Yeah, starting off with the swing, I think he's definitely pushing on this turn. And then on deletion, we're just resolving the effects. So we're doing them one at a time. We're going to play out the Tukuya with the first inheritable, and then on deletion, if he has a Tukuya, he gets to draw a card. Following that up here, so now that we have the tamer set up, we have something in raising. Let's see what the follow-up play is going to be here. Maybe he's going to get rid of my Kokuomon so that I can't try to push for a regular OTK here. Yep. Super smart there, because if I was able to raise up and swing through 3 checks and then just have something to swing in for game, puts him in a really rough position here though. Hopefully we don't forget that Burning Greymon has summoning sickness here, but I don't think we do. Yep, we just end up playing another Tukuya because he gained back the 2 memory from the Beelzemon. Plays out another Tukuya to put us to 1. And yeah, here we are. We're going to start the show. So we're going to suspend the Beelzemon, gain a memory. And Digivolve here. And actually, I think a really big misplay here. So we're on GrandisKuwagamon and we don't have access to Grandis. And that's not always a bad situation to be in. But the problem being, we're going to pop the memory boost here so we can try to find one. But we have a GrandisKuwagamon that's currently at 12k, and We're gonna make a decision here in a second, so we don't find the Grandis here, and that's the big decider here. Because if we did Digivolve on Grandis, it suspends Burning Greymon and keeps it our turn. But we're gonna end up swinging into security here, but we're Digibursting our DP boost, and that's a really big misplay, because we're swinging at 11k, and there are some level 6s in the red hybrid deck that you beat over at 12. But in my head, I was like, we die to any of the same things, whether it's 11 or 12, because everything's 12 or 13, but everything's 11 or 12. First check 11, and that just, yeah, that's rough. Had we kept that DP boost, we would have been fine through that swing. We would have done 2 checks on that turn, kept a level 6, and had a second body on board, and then just had a little bit of board presence. But since our opponent played through the early game pretty much perfectly, now we're really on the back foot here as a Grandis player. So that was a little bit rough, but we're just going to Digivolve into the Kabuterimon, set our opponent to 1, but they go to 3 with their memory tamer that they played on the last turn. So here, really the big thing is not swinging the Flamemon in and just losing value, so we're just probably going to Digivolve the Flamemon, even though we have a tamer to do the hybrid plays with, but we'll see. So we're going to see another Pokemon come down. Maybe we'll just generate enough swings to, we're just generating enough swings to try to go for a game here, essentially. Because now we'll get that free Digivolve, as well as a little bit of Cycle. So deciding on what he wants to pick up here, but I think that he ends up going back and picking the same thing. No, we swap over to the Burning Greymon instead. I can see why. That does make a lot of sense for sure. So we're gonna pick up the tamer and the Burning Greymon. Being on 3 life here with 3 bodies, or 3 swings here from our opponent with 1 blocker just doesn't feel that great, because he can just swing with 2 swings with the bigger cards and then pass turn, because we have to do a lot of climbing here to get back into the game. So we'll see how he decides to play through the turn. No matter what, this shouldn't be the last turn, unless we forget that the Pokemon just came down this turn, but let's see here. Deciding on swing. On the swing pattern here, we're gonna swing, first, and we're gonna lose the memory here from that Okumon from the last turn. I wonder what the play here. Do we Digivolve on the Burning Greymon even though it's rested? Oh no, we ended up passing the turn there. Sorry, that was a mistake on my part. My recording stuff is kind of blocking part of the screen here, but nonetheless, the only thing that we can do is Digivolve up and raising. He was able to push the 1 damage, which was a big deal, and then yeah, here we are. We're gonna Atomic Inferno for 1 onto the rookie to make it big enough that I can't block and try to hit for 2 checks. Once again, if it's a big body, it'll kill it. Yep, and it's a big body, so dies on the first one. He gets the draw and deletion, but it doesn't matter too much. He's set up to push for game here, so we can swing with the second big body here and then make the hybrid play, or you can make the hybrid play first, just in case he's scared of hitting like a Sneemon or something in security, or hitting something that'll suspend down his board. But regardless, he's too wide for any of that unless he hits a high Mega Blaster specifically. A couple ways you can go about it though. Having the blocker here is nice, but it doesn't do quite enough. Going into the Burning Greymon here, getting the draw. I think we're looking for something to kill the Kabuterimon for free, but yeah, we have enough swings here regardless. So here I'm really thinking, do I just take the hit here and see what it is? But no, it's not a security check, so now it doesn't matter. He makes the hybrid first, resolves the Flamemon, or the on deletion effect, plays out the Flamemon, resolves the Flamemon, which is nice because he gets a little bit extra resource, but nothing here is gonna come down and save me. So swing, block, and then we realize that that's the wrong way to do it. He Digivolves for 2 first, so he's guaranteed the memory. Gets the memory back. I'm forced to block on the first swing here, and then that'll just wrap up the game 2 for us. So really big misplay there, not realizing that I can swing over things at 12. But that's kind of how and where you learn with learning these different matchups here. So going into game 3, we're really looking for a strong hand, and we're also looking to start the game off. We're trying to choke him at 1, so we're forced to kind of be in the driver's seat for the rest of the game. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Going through my mulligan, I keep my first hand, and our opponent goes through his mulligan really quickly, does the quick shuffle, I cut, and then yeah, going into dealing out the life in the hand here now. This game is actually really tense here because you can, like we saw how the game just kind of slipped out of our hands in the last one, you can just really fall out of tempo here if you just don't see your pieces with the as a GrandisKuwagamon player here. So, but fingers crossed things go well. Looks like, yeah. Oh, it looks like that was the first hand, so we were thinking about the mulligan right away, but we ended up keeping the first hand for the red player. Digivolve and raising into the Terriermon, and then think about it. So it looks like we did have a follow-up. It's going to be a 3-cost follow-up, not a 1-cost Digivolution. So we're going to follow it up with a Kuwagamon. That means that we can put some extra, early damage into the red hybrid player, as well as try to set up for just a come out of raising OTK. So if we put down a Kuwagamon here, swing with it on our next turn, put down another rookie on the next turn, and Digivolve with the rest of our memory, we'll be able to put our opponent to 3 security, raise out a GrandisKuwagamon with the Grandis on top of it, and just swing three checks, unsuspend, swing for game. So that's the game plan in these types of situations, and we'll see how it goes. So we're gonna draw, Digivolve for 1, go to 0, and then I believe we declare the swing here, but maybe we just Digivolve and look for the piece on top of the Kuwagamon on board so it doesn't get popped by our opponent right away. And that way we can possibly avoid giving our opponent a tamer, but we'll see. And we just play out the green memory boost. So we're going to go for a more conventional OTK here and just try to build up our stack in the raising and then just have a body on board the whole time. So we'll see how it goes for us. We pick up a Quartz here on the green memory boost, but I don't think that's what we wanted to see. We did have a 5 in raising, but or a 5 in hand, I mean, but we decided not to go into it. We see the Burning Greymon come up and pop our rookie, and then swing at security for 2 checks. Live on the first check and then hit into a green memory boost. And here's the position where it's kind of rough. Next turn, we know that we're for sure going to go to at least 5 memory, and that's enough memory to go into Grandis. We go into the 5, we go into the next antibody, we suspend one of his cards, Digivolve for 2, but we don't have that extra memory from the Weedmon because we have a Terriermon down there in raising. But we're in a good position here. We'll see how it goes though. Thinking about how we want to proceed. So as a red player, he does want to be the aggressor in all of his matchups, but oh, and we hit a Davis. All right, GG's. Now we're gonna be going to 7 memory on our next turn, and we're just picking up pieces. We got the Quartzmon, I think, on the last search. We got a Grandis here, and we see a second Davis. All right, that's just really lucky though. We are playing 3 Davis in this version of the list, so we can hit these super crazy security bombs, but now we're just perfectly set up. So. And also, if we haven't found anything specific like that level 5 Kuwagamon, the chances of us top decking it after milling 6 cards off the top of our deck is actually really high. So maybe we just top deck it here. So waiting for our opponents to finish resolving the Flamemon that they hard play to end their turn, and we raise up at 4, which means that we're gonna go for it. So pop both memory boosts off the bat to go up to 7 because we just kind of planned for that in our head and how we want to go for the play. And yep, we're gonna Digivolve, go to 4. We never saw that Kuwagamon, that's really unfortunate, but we can still Digivolve here for 2. Draw. And here we don't need the piercing because we're not even going to go at any of the cards on board. We know we have a Quartzmon in hand, so we just want to preserve our opponent's side of the board, lock down everything, and just go for a game like this. So we're gonna swing through all of our opponent's security. This time we're at like 17, so that 12k doesn't do anything. But swing through our opponent's security here, and then we're just gonna go straight into a Quartz right afterwards. So, and that's our game plan. So we did go through security kind of fast right there. We didn't notice that we hit a Takuya, but it doesn't matter too much. All the Takuya does is provide a body that can come out suspended, but we're not in the threat of losing the game. He can try to Digivolve up and pop our Quartzmon, but and actually that would just be perfect. Yeah, if he Digivolves up and pops our Quartzmon, we don't have anything in raising, so that would actually be really rough. We'll see how things proceed here though. And we go Digivolve, and I believe that here is when we realized that we put that Takuya in the trash. So we're gonna rectify that in a second here, but he's just kind of going through and being like, oh yep, picks up the Takuya and is like, oh, I would have had this, and the Quartz would have locked it down. We do move the memory over, but then we realized that there was an odd number of cards on the board, or an even number of cards on the board, so adding the 1 card just didn't make a difference in the memory, so we moved that back in a second here. But even with the Takuya and a second line, if he doesn't have the perfect cards to kind of digivolve up, he's just kind of hoping and praying at this point because he hasn't gone through enough of his deck because it's still decently early in the amount of turns that we've gone through. So that's us moving the memory back because we realized that it didn't make a difference there while he's thinking through his turn through. Ultimately, he's played through this matchup like pretty much perfectly the whole way through. It's just this is a really hard position to be in because my Quartzmon gave me so much memory back. I locked down the board pretty effectively. And it just does cost to digivolve up here, so yeah. And then we see the cards come slam down. We pick up the trash. Thinking about showing like kind of what we were looking for. I definitely was looking to go into the Emperor Greymon, trying to pop the Quartzmon there because it would have been smaller, and then just moving into a game from there. So technically he was never out of the game. Had he had the right cards, he 100% could have won that. And that's how the whole matchup goes back and forth. They're both very aggro decks. They're both just smacking each other in the face. But I just wanted to get this deck profile, or not this deck profile, this gameplay out, since we got all the news of like GrandisKuwagamon getting limited to 1 with the Beelzemon and all that stuff. So if you guys have been enjoying this content, leave a like, leave a subscribe. You guys already know, but this is me, Jamonster with Opus Gaming, and I'm out. Thanks, you guys. Take care.